Good evening. Praise to the Most High God, y'all. Thank Him for letting me be able to see another day. Peace and blessings to Israel, brothers and sisters who's coming into the truth and knowing who they truly are and what they God seeks and expects highly of them is to keep the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High God. So, with that being said, we're dealing with a topic concerning the law of righteous judgment. That we do have brothers and sisters who deals with certain aspects of life where the thing is this: you are my boy, you are my homie, I have your back. And with that being said, we see that people more do more like a clique thing. You know what I'm saying? Because I might not have what you have, or I might not know you, but I know him. You see what I'm saying? And then they tend to deal with the people that they're more familiar with. And see, the Most High tells us that I ain't no favoritism when it comes down to judging. You either right or you wrong. So just because I might have a family member or best friend, somebody who I'm more acquainted with, that I might lean more to their side than to the other person's side. And that other person might be right, or and my family member or my friend might be wrong, but I still go in favor of my family or friend. So I want to read according to the laws where the Most High tells us, again, Isaiah 8 and 20, to the law and the testimony. They speak not of these words, there's no light in them. Psalms 119:105 states that the law is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. And we know, according to Proverbs 6 and 23, we look according to the scriptures that the Most High tells us when we follow the law. Proverbs 6 and 23 said, for the commandment is a lamp and the law is light, and reproof of instruction are the way of life. So as we learn the laws of our Heavenly Father, we know Isaiah 28 and 10 tells us, for precept upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line, here a little and there a little. Meaning, according to the word precept, is the Hebrew word sav, which means commandment, ordinance, or oracle. Well, we could give a commandment upon a commandment, an ordinance upon an ordinance, and an oracle upon an oracle, and then give a testimony where we get a better understanding of what the law is implementing. And see, uh, let's go to Deuteronomy 6 and 17 also, and show that the testimony gives us a clear thought. of what the law is implementing. It says, you shall diligently keep the commandments of the Most High your God, and his testimonies and his statutes which he hath commanded thee. So, according to the law and the testimony, we can have a clear insight of what the law is implementing to have a better understanding of how we're supposed to live today. So we're dealing with, according to Torah, with the righteous judgment. And I'm going to start off with Deuteronomy 17:8, where it says, if there arise a matter too hard for thee in judgment between blood and blood, between plea and plea, and between stroke and stroke, being matters of controversy within thy gates, then shalt thou arise and get thee up into the place which the Most High God shall choose. Verse 9 says, and thou shalt come unto the priest, the Levites, and unto the judge that shall be in those days, and inquire, and they shall show thee the sentence of judgment. Deuteronomy 17:10 states, thou shalt do according to the sentence which they of that place which the Most High shall choose, shall show thee, and thou shalt observe to do according to all that they inform thee, according to the sentence of the law which they shall teach thee, and according to the judgment which they shall tell thee, thou shalt do. Thou shalt not decline from the sentence which they shall show thee, to the right nor to the left. Deuteronomy 17:12, as a man that will do presumptuously and will not hearken unto the priest that standeth to minister there before the Most High thy God, or unto the judge, even that man shall die, and thou shalt put away the evil from Israel. And all the people shall hear and fear and do no more presumptuously. Deuteronomy 17:19, and it shall be when he sitteth upon the throne of his kingdom that he shall write them. Deuteronomy 17:18, it says, and it shall be when he sitteth upon the throne of his kingdom that he shall write him a copy of this law in a book out of that which is before the priests, the Levites. Verse 19, and it shall be with him, and he shall read therein all the days of his life, that he may learn to fear the Most High God, to keep all the words of his law, and these statutes to do them. Verse 20 says that his heart be not lifted up above his brethren, and that he turn not aside from the commandments to the right hand or to the left, to the end that he may prolong his days and his kingdom, he and his children in the midst of Israel. Deuteronomy 1:17 indicates, ye shall not respect persons in judgment, but you shall hear the small as the great. You shall not be afraid of the face of men, for the judgment is God, and the cause that is too hard for you, bring it unto me, and I will hear it. Leviticus 19:15, ye shall do no unrighteousness in judgment. Thou shalt not respect the persons of the poor, nor honor the persons of the mighty, but in righteousness shalt thou judge thy neighbor. Deuteronomy 10:17, for the Most High your God is God of gods, and master of masters, a great God, a mighty and a terrible, which regardeth not persons, nor take reward. Deuteronomy 16:19, thou shalt not rest judgment, thou shalt not respect persons, neither take a gift for a gift, do blind the eyes of the wise, and pervert the words of the righteous. Exodus 23:3, neither shalt thou countenance a poor man in his cause. Exodus 23:6, Thou shalt not rest the judgment of thy poor in his cause. Exodus 23, verse 7 say, keep thee far from a false matter, and the innocent and righteous slay thou not, for I will not justify the wicked. Now, we're going to read some scriptures out of the book of Job, and we're going to read Job, starting at Job 22 and 6, all the way to verse 9. It says, for thou hast taken a pledge from thy brother, for not, and stripped the naked of their clothing. Thou hast not given water to the weary to drink, and thou hast withholden bread from the hungry. But as for the mighty man, he had the earth, and the honorable man dwelt in it. Thou hast sent widows away empty, and the arms of the fatherless have been broken. Now we're going to turn over and we'll read Job 29:11, and we'll read this all the way through Job 29 and 17. And this is everything about perversion and judgment, what the Most High is displeased with when you make false reports, giving the false balance, unequal weights and measures, when you choose one over the other, instead of choosing the right for the right and the wrong for the wrong. You favor one better than the other. It says, Job 29:11, when the ear heard me, then it blessed me, and when the eye saw me, it gave witness to me. Because I delivered the poor that cried, and the fatherless, and him that had none to help him. The blessing of him that was ready to perish came upon me, and I caused the widow's heart to sing for joy. I put on righteousness, and it clothed me. My judgment was as a robe and a diadem. I was eyes to the blind, and feet was I to the lame. I was a father to the poor, and the cause which I knew not, I searched out. And I break the jaws of the wicked, and pluck the spoil out of his teeth. Now, we're going to go further on, and we're going to go to Job 31, and we're going to start at verse 13, and we can read Job 31 to 16. And all this is dealing with the precept, the commandment of righteous judgment. It said, if I did despise the cause of my manservant or of my maidservant when I contended with me, what then shall I do when God rises up? When he visits, what shall I answer him? Did not he that made me in the womb make him? And did not one fashion us in the womb? If I have withheld the poor from their desires, or have caused the eyes of the widow to fail. And we'll read, now we're going to the book of Psalms, and we're going to read Psalms 82, verse 3 and 4. And it's all dealing with the laws of righteous judgment. Defend the poor and fatherless. Do justice to the afflicted and needy. Deliver the poor and needy. Rid them out of the hands of the wicked. Now, we're going to read in the book of Proverbs, verse 20. We're going to read chapter 22. We're going to start at verse 22 and 23. It says, rob not the poor because he is poor, neither oppress the afflicted in the gate. For the Most High will plead their cause and spoil the souls of those that spoil them. So you got to understand, when you falsely judge a matter and you lean to the side, whether it's for money or for favor, the Most High is paying attention to you and is judging you due according to the law. So we have to understand that according to this law, that we got to judge righteously and not according to our own hearts. Now, we read earlier Deuteronomy 6 and 17, you shall diligently keep the commandments and the testimonies, right? So I would like to read to you a testimony according to the law. And then I'm gonna go into first. I think I'm gonna go to First Kings, the third chapter, and we're gonna read the testimony according with two women dealt with a child that was born and one that was dead. That the fact is, the woman that had the deceased child, she ended up stealing the child that was alive. I lied and said it was her own child, which it was not. And here we see Solomon will have to make a decision on how to resolve the matter when it came down to who was right and who was wrong, who was being truthful. So let me go into First Kings 3, and then let me see if this recording the right testimony, because I don't want to give nothing that's incorrect. Okay, start in verse. We're gonna start in. Let's begin at verse 12, and we can read all the way to 28. And it goes like, it said, "Behold, I have done according to thy word. Lo, I have given thee a wise and an understanding heart, so that there was none like thee before thee, neither after thee shall any arise like unto thee. And I have also given thee that which thou hast not asked, both riches and honor, so that there should not be any among the kings like unto thee all the days. And if thou wilt walk in my ways to keep my statutes and my commandments, as thy father David did walk, and I will lengthen thy days." And Solomon awoke, and behold, it was a dream, and he came to Jerusalem and stood before the ark of the covenant of the Most High, and offered up burnt offerings and offered peace offerings, and made a feast to all his servants. Verse 16, then came there two women that were harlots unto the king, and stood before him. And the one woman said, "O my master, I and this woman dwell in one house, and I was delivered of a child with her in the house. And it came to pass the third day after that I was delivered, that this woman was delivered also, and we were together. There was no stranger with us in the house, say we two in the house. And this woman child died at the night because she overlaid it. And she arose at midnight and took my son from beside me while thy handmaid slept, and laid it in her bosom, and laid her dead child in my bosom. And when I arose in the morning to give my child suck, behold, it was dead. But when I had considered it in the morning, behold, it was not my son which I did bear. And the other woman said, Nay, but the living is my son, and the dead it is thy son. And this said, No, but the dead is thy son, and the living is my son. Thus they spake before the king. Then said the king, the one said, This is my son that liveth, and thy son is the dead. And the other said, Nay, but thy son is the dead, and my son is the living. And the king said, Bring me a sword. And they brought a sword before the king. And the king said, Divide the living child in two, and give half to one and half to the other. Then spake the woman whose the living child was unto the king, for her bowels yearned upon her son. And she said, O my master, give her the living child, and in no wise slay it. But the other said, Let it be neither mine nor thine, but divided. Then the king answered and said, Give her the living child, and in no wise slay it. This is the mother thereof. Now all Israel heard of the judgment which the king had judged, and they feared the king, for they saw the wisdom of God was in him to do judgment. And this is when we read the testimony of being righteous and making righteous decisions according to the law. So, with that being said, I would like to thank brothers and sisters who may have seen this video. And this is We Israel giving you Torah in order for us to have a better understanding of the law. And I would like to just give thanks and praises to the Most High God for letting me be able to read and understand, to interpret His word, and to learn His will, and to be able to keep His law, that we may be able to deal with one another and become a nation of people to do the Most High's will. Before I go, I'd like to read a couple of verses. Jeremiah 9 and 23 and 24. I like to read these words to brothers and sisters to let them know the wisdom that is given has come from the Most High. And I do not take credit for what is being taught to me, but I thank the Most High for giving me His wisdom. It said, Thus saith the Most High, let not the wise man glory in his wisdom, neither let the mighty man glory in his might. Let not the rich man glory in his riches, but let him that glory in this, that he understandeth and knoweth me, that I am the Most High, which exercise loving kindness, judgment, and righteousness in the earth. When these things I delight, saith the Most High. I like to go over to Proverbs 27, and I'll read verse 1 and 2. And it says, Boast not thyself tomorrow, for thou knowest not what a day may bring forth. Let another man praise thee, and not thy own mouth, a stranger in thy own lips. As we go back into the book of Jeremiah, we are reading the 13th chapter and the 16th verse. Give glory to the Most High your God before He calls darkness and before your feet stumble upon the dark mountains. And while you look for light, He turn it into the shadows of death and make it gross darkness. And I'd like to read the last and final verse in the book of Amos. And we'll read in 8th chapter, 11 through 14. It said, Behold, the days come, saith the Most High God, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor of thirst for waters, but of hearing the words of the Most High. And they shall wander from sea to sea, and from the north even to the east. They shall run to and fro, and seek the words of the Most High, and shall not find it. And that day shall the fair virgins and young men faint for thirst, they that swear by the sins of Samaria, and say that thy God Odin liveth in the manner of Beersheba liveth. Even they shall fall and never rise again. I like to thank brothers and sisters who's taking their time out to learn the words, the laws, to apply to their everyday life. And if you want to check in further more testimonies according to this law, look at First Samuel 12, third and fourth verse. You can go to Jeremiah 5:28 and 29. You can look at Amos 5:11 through 12, Michael 2, 1 and 3, Michael 3, 1 through 4, Michael 7, chapter 3 through 4. The testimonies in Second Chronicles 19 and 6, and Exodus 18, verse 18, 22, and verse 26. And you can also look at the story of Korah and Numbers 16 chapter to get a clear understanding of the law. And the Most High tells us, Ecclesiastes 12 and verse 13, it says, Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandment, for this is the whole duty of men. And I thank you again in my very, very last time. For brothers and sisters, I like to say la, and praise Yah. And keep studying and keep applying and taking heed to the word. Shalom.